What do you mean Tiffany will own the company? My voice was steady, but beneath the table, my fists curled tight. The chandelier above bathed the dining room in warm light, but the air between us had turned to ice. Across from me, my father, Walter Langston, the man whose empire I'd dragged back from the brink, didn't bother looking up from his steak. Grace, he said with a patronizing sigh, you're brilliant at technical work, but leadership isn't your strength. We need someone who commands respect. Tiffany is the obvious choice. Tiffany, draped in a flawless designer dress, sipped her wine with a smug smile. She'd done nothing while Langston Enterprises was circling the drain. Now that my work had transformed it into a thriving powerhouse, she was being handed the crown. I built the software that saved this company. I cut in, my words slicing through the clink of silverware. Without it, there'd be nothing left to give away. Dad chuckled, amused at my anger. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his wallet, and tossed a crumpled $100 bill onto the table. For your efforts, he said, as though dismissing a waiter. I stared at it, the insult wrapped in green paper. That bill represented every sleepless night, every line of code, every financial crisis I'd solved. $600 million in company value, and this was my thank you. Mom shifted uncomfortably, eyes flicking to mine, but she stayed silent. Everyone stayed silent. I looked at my father, the man I'd spent my life trying to impress. In that moment, it clicked. It had never been about my talent or my loyalty. It was about control. I see, I whispered. I folded the bill into my napkin, stood, and smoothed my blouse. Grace, don't be dramatic, Dad said with a dismissive wave. I smiled faintly. I'm not being dramatic. I'm just accepting my role as the background character in this family, and exiting the scene. Tiffany's laugh was soft, poisonous. Grace, Mom began, but I was already walking away. My heels clicked against the marble floor in perfect rhythm. No slamming doors, no shouting, just a clean exit. The next morning, Langston Enterprises was humming with the energy of a booming company. My software had turned us into an industry leader, slashing logistics from weeks to minutes, opening international markets. But something was off. Whispers stopped when I passed. Nervous glances followed me down the hall. When I reached my office, the door stood open. My desk was stripped bare. My computer, gone. My nameplate, missing. And in my chair, Tiffany. She looked up with a bright, fake smile. Oh, good morning, Grace. Didn't Dad tell you? I'm moving in here. You'll report directly to me now. What's my new position? I asked evenly. She shrugged. We'll figure something out. Maybe IT support. My own company, IT support. She smirked. Dad thinks you should take some time off. Work on hobbies. Don't worry, you'll still have a role here. I didn't argue. I just nodded and left. They thought I'd fade quietly, but I had other plans. Within weeks, Tiffany's incompetence was showing. She replaced seasoned managers with friends, ignored critical data, and buried herself in endless meetings. The empire I'd built was crumbling. One night, I met with 3 allies who had already resigned: Willie, our brilliant CFO, Amber, the data genius behind our customer insights, and Kenneth, my right hand in engineering. We're starting fresh, I told them, sliding a folder across the table. Inside was my real weapon, the software's most advanced version, one I'd built before Langston Enterprises even knew it existed. They had the old code, I had the future. For a month, we refined it, then I went straight to Langston's competitors. Within 2 weeks, I had multiple offers. Within a month, I signed a $90 million contract. The collapse of Langston Enterprises began quietly, clients slipping away, profits plunging. Tiffany blamed everyone but herself. But the truth was simple, the industry had moved forward overnight, and I was the one leading it. 7 months later, I walked into the Tech Innovators Gala in a tailored black gown, champagne in hand. When they called my name, I took the stage to a standing ovation. Tonight we honor Grace Langston, founder of Axion Systems, now valued at over $900 million, the host announced. The applause roared. From the stage, I spotted my father and Tiffany at the back of the room, defeated, forgotten. I didn't feel anger, just satisfaction. I had won on my own terms. Exactly 1 year ago, my father had tossed a $100 bill at me. Now, I was worth nearly $1 billion, and Langston Enterprises was circling the drain. At 9 a.m. the next day, my assistant entered. "Grace, your father and sister are here to see you." I smiled. "Send them in." I'd always known this day would come. "Send them in," I said evenly. Tiffany walked in first, polished as ever. Though the exhaustion beneath her makeup was impossible to miss, my father followed. His posture stooped, his face etched with defeat. The fight had finally drained out of them. "Grace," he began. "Careful, measured. We need to talk." I motioned toward the chairs across from my desk. They hesitated, maybe realizing for the first time that this was my ground, my rules, before finally sitting. Tiffany tapped her nails on the armrest, eyes avoiding mine. My father released a heavy sigh. "We've had our differences, but we're still family. Langston Enterprises is in serious trouble, and we need your help." There it was. I let the silence stretch until it became uncomfortable, then asked, "And what exactly do you expect me to do?" He leaned forward, voice more earnest now. "We're prepared to offer you a major leadership position. Clearly, we underestimated you." I arched a brow. "You figured that out now?" Tiffany's irritation flared. "Grace, stop being petty. We're asking for your help." A quiet laugh escaped me. "You need me. That's interesting. A year ago, I was not leadership material. You said I was only good for technical work." Dad's mouth tightened. "Decisions were made, but right now, we need to move forward, together. Control. That was all this was about. Not my vision, not my skills, just control." Feigning curiosity, I asked, "What role are you offering?" His voice regained that old authoritative tone. "Second in command, under Tiffany." This time I laughed outright. Tiffany's cheeks flushed crimson. "Grow up, Grace. Writing software doesn't mean you can run $1 billion company." I stopped laughing, met her gaze, and spoke with ice in my voice. "Tiffany, my company is worth $900 million. Yours is dying. Tell me again, who doesn't know how to run a company?" The silence that followed was exquisite. Dad's voice softened, almost pleading. "Grace, please." The moment I'd been waiting for, the man who had dismissed me now begging for help, and I felt nothing but calm. "No," I said simply. Tiffany shot to her feet. "You're bitter. You've always been jealous of me." I smiled faintly. "Jealous? Tiffany, I have everything you ever wanted. Jealousy isn't in my vocabulary." I stood, straightened my blouse. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a real company to run." Dad left without a word. Tiffany stormed toward the door but stopped, turning back. "I hope you're happy," she spat. "I am," I replied, meaning every word. The door closed. I sank back into my chair and exhaled, the air lighter than it had ever felt. They thought a half-hearted plea could undo the past. They thought they knew me. They had no idea who I'd become.